All right, namaste and catch my family, and welcome to another Team Light interviews with Yssah. And here we are going to talk about Stargates and portals this time without all of the hopefully electronic disturbances of being hit with solar flares. How are you doing, Yssah?
I'm doing great, very excited. Well, it gave us more time to actually even bring more information in. So,
No,
you
I was
know,
meditating this morning on it. I was like, and then literally, I'm getting into a place where my oversoul is saying, okay, that's what it is. I'm like, in communicato, they're like, don't say that though. I was like, wait, what? They're like that. They're not ready for all that. I'm like, come on. What are they ready for? What are you guys? You guys are ready for everything. How you guys doing out there across planet Earth, and welcome. Team Light is here to keep crushing. I just had a huge meeting with my brother Moss, Ms. Masadi and Miss Sandra, Dr. Sandra. We're getting this conference ready for Dallas. It's on and popping, and Yssah, you're in there too, Tiger. She's even there talking about the
yes,
quantum intelligence of everything, the multidimensional aspects. And we're working on a couple more heavy hitter speakers, and it's just awesome. I don't know what to say. It's awesome. So, Yssah, let me go ahead
it
and
is.
show the comments on the stage. Let's just keep this thing. Let's use it. Okay. Let me go ahead and just turn your volume down just a tad. There we go. I don't want to get no echo. Echo yeko. So as we crush, how you guys doing out there? You guys having fun? Let's go give me some thumbs up. Welcome Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and we are live on Rumble as well. Welcome, welcome. And then obviously Yssah's channel. Welcome, welcome. Hello. If you're new, my name is Rion. And I don't know. I'm here to kind of just break the Phantom Matrix. I don't really know what else to say. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like everyone else on Earth. But when I do, I'm here to crush the Phantom Matrix. That's just kind of how we do it out here. Let's see how long before we break the internet. Listen, Sylvia, I know, and if you guys watched the last video, I'm not going to be talking about how to charge from the sun and expand your angelic wings out of your back. We're not going to talk about that.
Please.
My electronics get a little nervous. They get a little nervy. They're like, don't do it. Okay, so I'm going to keep my energy contained. Let's go right into Stargate, shall we, Yssah? Why don't you go
Yes.
first, your definition of Stargates and portals, and then I'll go. Okay?
Okay, awesome. Well, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. As Rion said, we will be in Dallas now, so very excited for that. And speaking of which, speaking of the quantum field and how it connects with the existence of stargates and plasma tunnels, as we know, there's even one time that I said, I'm quite sure that you are all familiar to the word metaphysics. So for me, the quantum was a way to actually give answer to those questions that metaphysics was coming from, and that there was at that moment no answer. So now quantum physics came into the field and actually is addressing to all those questions. And that is awesome because it's the bridge in between spirituality and science. So, and as I always say, I do know that it's very important to bring these two together, which are one, just different ways of, of addressing to them, of naming things. But in the case of stargates, we know that there are many kind of stargates. We have circular ones like the one that I have behind, the one that I just came it came through, and to be with you guys here. And then there are also, like organic stargates, um, created, built, constructed stargates. And the technology of the stargates is similar to the wormholes. Like for there to be a stargate, there needs to be a wormhole and also of a portal. Like stargate, we would refer to them as these mainly created structures to travel through stars, of course, as the name says. And the portals can take us, like many places, interdimensionally speaking, not only to stars. Yet, why are they the same? Because in order to reach stars, we need to shift dimension. We need to shift our level of perception. Because the way of traveling through stargates is different, like taking a spaceship, a rocket ship, and trying to fly to the moon. The Stargate actually allows us to go into a process in which our molecular structure keeps such a level of coherence that traveling through the space-time fabric won't damage it, and therefore you can see that in many of the Stargates, that in the movies or even in images that are shown, about some of them fake, some of them real, that were found all over Egypt, Middle East, America, like everywhere, all over the world. They have some kind of inscriptions. This is one type of Stargate, which I love. And all Stargates, most of them actually can be intercommunicated because they are using the same tech. Well, very similar, like the same basics. So actually, if you know how to hack them, you can access from one Stargate here to another, even if the configuration, the primordial configuration of the Stargate was not traveling to that point, you can actually access there by hacking it. Because as I was saying, they use the same formula. And that same formula involves very much the quantum vacuum fluctuations and the energy density, the negative energy density. So what are these things? When we are talking about quantum, the vacuum fluctuations are that process, the famous ripples in time. Every time that a ripple in time is generated, then what you're doing is bringing two forces together at the center point and creating a torsion. That's very much of the vacuum fluctuation. It's a very simple way to say it. And harnessing the 0 point energy, which is very important. The 0 point energy is super important even to travel through Stargates. Why? Because you can diminish, for instance, different types of radiation, which is quite related to the plasma tunnels. And also it is that which allows that your molecular structure won't be damaged through traveling through the space-time fabric. Because you can even say that while traveling through there, you're permeating your field into such coherence that you're resonating with the rest of the space in which you are going through. It's creating this harmonic field that allows molecules not to entangle with one another, so that when you come from the other side of the Stargate, you don't have a particle of information of another timeline, like stuck into you. Like it's something weird.
When I go through a Stargate, I'm like, hey man, can we can I lose some of these love handles? No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, hey, when I come through, do I have to take all my molecules with me? Just asking, you know what I mean? We're looking. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm the comedy relief. Listen, we all think it. Hey, when I go through the Stargate, when I get to the other side, can we when my molecules reassemble? It's much cheaper than plastic surgery. Just go ahead and no,
in a new way. Yeah.
When I come out the portal, can I be 3 inches taller? Just asking for a friend. Is that something we do on a Starship Command? No. No.
As long as you don't come out with a Quado.
Yeah. You're like, let me into your mind, Quaid. No, we're not doing Quato. Okay, so that was the super amusing rendition of the physical and quantum mechanics. For me, memories and experience. So I remember back in, could have been Atlantis or Egypt. I was in a temple, and I remember the 3 sarcophaguses. So the 3 sarcophaguses, you basically, here's the Stargate over here, the door, the portal that opens and closes based upon how they would probably harness the energy from the Oconosphere as it fires. They create this energy, it looks like a wave. It looks like water on the right hand side. So the memory was you had to spend, I think it was 1 day in the first sarcophagus. There was a solution that you had to get into. And I don't know how long you have to sit there. Basically, it was based upon the frequency of your suit, maybe how you took care of yourself. You get out of the one sarcophagus, which is a big stone thing. It's not like a coffin. It was like a big sarcophagus. Then you get into the second tub or sarcophagus for about 8 hours, and then you get into the third sarcophagus for about a couple hours, 3 minutes. But it was this cleansing process before you went through the portal. I remember that. I remember there's two types of Stargates. One was domestic and one was international. So my higher selves kind of explained it to me, kind of like international and domestic airports. Domestic Stargates were for portaling from temple to temple, pyramid to pyramid on Earth in this plane. You know what I mean? I call those domestic Stargates. Okay, and there's a lot of natural Stargates and portals which exist on this planet. And there's since the second pyramid war, when all of our normal portals and everything were kind of blown up, hence the creation of the Sahara Desert and how we used to actually move around down here. Now it's only during certain alignments where these portals open and close. I think there's some famous ones in New Mexico and out there in the deserts of Utah and Colorado and actually northern Arizona. Now, international Stargates were from, say, Earth to Mars, or it was an international portal. And I believe that like I said, using the old school traveling mechanisms that used to be interoperational on this planet. Now, with the advent of basically our technology being able to create portals, and there's a lot of different secret space program guys, and there's a building in El Segundo in California where they talk about they had a jump gate. Now, jump gates are an artificial portal which can be created using technology to go from one point to another. I believe my brother Emery Smith talks about jump gates and how they're used and how basically it can be very dangerous at times, because when you're going from point A to point B, you kind of got to go in a straight line to go straight through the portal. You don't want to step off into, you probably just get cut, because the thing is, you don't want to fall inside of a Stargate, let's just say. Okay. For all my fellow captains out there that have, been fighting at, warp speed and, had the ship get sucked into a wormhole, welcome. I think I've had that happen twice to me in my past lives, always fighting inside of portal combat. All right. So when the whole ship goes through a Stargate or a portal. Yeah, people think I'm like, nah, dude, there's things where usually you're chasing somebody and they step on warp speed, and you think it's so funny in Star Wars. They're like, oh, they got away. They went into warp. That's not how it works, dude. You go into warp speed, I go into warp speed, and I'm tracking your ass. It's more like the latest Star Trek movie where Into Darkness with the guy when the main character is the dude that plays Doctor Strange, Khan. But yeah, no, I remember getting in firefights on on battle cruisers, and when one person goes into a wormhole and they open a Stargate, they were traveling and tracking that other ship. It wasn't like they just go away and you get away. That's not how it works, especially when different species have different levels of technology that are interoperating on the same level. Anyways, so there's my interpretations. I know that some of the natural Stargates and portals on this planet, and obviously everything works with frequency, right? So certain frequencies can open and close doors, and I think that's the most common way to do it, is to play a certain frequency, and which can open a wormhole or a Stargate domestically. Anyways, that's some of the stuff. Frequency and sound is going to be the main function, and then the magnetic spin, using the magnetics to basically use a magnetic spin, whether that be around a portal door, magnetically charged, right? So you think you see these portals and you're like, oh, what's that stone made out of? I'm like, we think of magnets as like little round discs we stick things on the fridge with. I'm like, guys, the whole stone arch is one huge magnet. You don't have to move a magnet around it. They're like, oh shit. the whole thing's magnetized. So when they turn the power on that thing, that whole rock surface or that whole substance, whatever it may be, which is molecularly bonded, it's 3D printed. It's a combination of probably. Now I'm getting to the quantum nerd. See, I'm supposed to be comic relief,
Yay.
but now I'm getting quantum nerd on you. So in the same way we make like orgonite, or the same way we make smelted glass, or the same way we 3D print things with concrete, let's just say, they were using almost like imagine neodymium magnets. Imagine 1 ton of neodymium magnets pressed with about 8 to 10 different types of molecules smelted together. It could be gold, platinum, palladium, high-powered neodymium magnets, that you then put it into a cast, and then you compress it at a very high compression ratio and a very high heat. And then when you throw it into the cold, it's almost like making steel. You actually, in the same way you make a Japanese katana, how you fold steel. Well, imagine folding and compressing magnetic waves when you're creating a Stargate. Oh my God.
Yeah. I know that you were.
No. Okay. First of all, don't repeat this. Okay, listen, I don't work. I work for the planet, okay? But I think I remember how to fold magnetism like I was pounding steel like a Japanese blacksmith 500 years ago. I just do it with pounding magnetism into short barrier waves. But anyways, once you create those waves, you can then quantum entangle them to other wave or jump points domestically or international.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you're saying that, it's like it brings me, because we know that many of the Stargates, like Rion names them, the domestic ones, we can see them in the temples, and there are like these false doors, like you see the wall, and then like there are specific holes, and of course there is a very determinate structure that they are using. Metals, they are using crystals, they are using all the components required to create that magnetic field. And what I'm reading, and based on my memories as well, with what Rion was saying about those capsules, which we know those are the boxes made of granite mainly, and that would actually be what they would be doing is amplifying the electric charge in the body, yet in a way that the electric charge collapse would be filling into the plasma body into 9 levels. So that, in relation and in communion with that magnetic field, what is generating is 2 forces, the magnetic and the electric one, creating that vacuum field in between them, and then ending up sucking themselves, and then the person, the being, trespassing and crossing that Stargate. The frequency, what does is creates also, like at a more basic level, what is generating is a unified field within that actually based on the attunement of your, because you can do it this whether with your voice or with tools. Like for instance, there was the septrum for the Hathors, that it's somehow like listening to a rattlesnake, and that of course that frequency, what is activating besides connecting at a very algorithmic level, speaking quantum, it's connecting to very specific star systems. So therefore, that is like, hey, did somebody ring the bell? And then even some of them can be activated from that very same interface, from that very same nexus that is still active, at least within some of the timelines, because at some timelines, they are still, like they are still activating the portal at distance, to say it somehow. So when you're actually being capable to align very specific components, it depends from which space you want to go into the portal, and actually to access which reality. I remember one time coming out of the Sphinx with a colleague.
Yeah.
opening a huge portal, but it was like this shape. It could actually.
Oh, yeah.
it as a Stargate and just going in,
No, 100%.
you know?
The whole thing is like, this technology is innate. This technology is locked away in every single human being on this planet. There is dormant DNA. Your higher selves know how to make these objects. Your higher selves know basic portal travel. You've all been trained in basic portal travel. There's something that's like opening up. It's like, well, how do we become, a class one civilization again? And how do you have a lot of beings that haven't been here since Lemuria or Atlantis? You have to remember, there's a lot of beings on this planet right now with that M on their hand. The land of Moo, baby. Okay, well, check this out for all the M's out there. Listen, if you have an M, you're cool. If you don't have an M, you could still watch the program and enjoy the comedy. But if you're double M's, if you're Mighty Mouse out there, for all my Mighty Mouses out there, check it out. Some of our souls remember when we were a class one civilization from Atlantis and Lemuria, and we graduated, and we already did this stuff. So what are we doing down here now? We're helping a lower graduating class ascend. A lot of the memories you guys are going to have of the true land of Chem, United States. That's why they won't let you into the Grand Canyon, because it totally ruins all the Smithsonian's bullshit. But what I'm getting to, the second version of Egypt, when it was created in Cairo, which is really called Babylon Cairo. They changed the name. It's not Cairo. It was Babylon Cairo.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They got it right the second time, hence why that pyramid in Giza is dead center on the planet, dead center in the plane. You know what I mean? It's almost like they had version 1 over here, and then the new model, the new Tesla, was built in Giza. They're like, okay, we're going to get it right this time. We're going to do the pylons. It's going to fire properly. So it's going to totally work this time, I promise you. So back with all that being said with the Stargates and portals, my thing is that traveling with your astral body and going OBE, I believe, is practicing, right, for that sort of travel. I think that people are traveling every single night when they're sleeping. They're traveling in between dimensions. You know what I mean? They're portaling. You guys are portaling all the time. And there's been a lot of people that have actually, one of the gentlemen's, the famous spoon bender, I forget his name, but he said in his Gaia interview that he accidentally teleported to a place like in upstate New York. He was downtown New York and he teleported accidentally. Geller, what's his name? The number one dude. I think his name's Geller for his last name. Anyways, what I'm getting to is these are Henry Geller. I think that's his name, right?
Okay.
Say it.
Well, I don't know.
But anyways,
I don't know.
No, you're looking at you leaned in like you're like, no, actually. I'm like, anyways, you can see him on Facebook. Anyways, he's on Gaia. But he bends spoons. It's fantastic. But I mean, he talked about in it when he was in his prime that he accidentally teleported, and he thought about it, and all of a sudden he was flying through the air, and then he was going right through his friend's screen door into his friend's vacation house. I don't know, an hour or two drive from his location. You guys might know Yuri. Thank you. Good old Yuri Geller. Thank you guys. Yuri.
I was saying Keanu Reeves because I was thinking of the Matrix, the movie, and I was like,
listen, everyone loves Keanu. Freaking Keanu, bro. But no, we're talking about Yuri Geller. Okay, so yeah, I mean, that's something that everyone in their own practicing that they can do and work on is actually quantum jumping, astral projection. It's basically a muscle. And I think that in the quantum realm and in the quantum intelligence, it's going to explain to you not only how these things are real, but actually truly maybe how many of us are communicating with one another and moving through the multiverse. It's all portals and stargates. So,
Yeah. And, like all of this is entangled, like I remember a show of Eight Sense or Sense8, like all of them talk like a group of people that didn't know each other and talking to one another at distance, listening to themselves, using all this telepathy and so forth. That's something that, as you said, we are already entitled, we're capable to do that. The thing is that the more that we connect and communicate with the quantum, the more that the
Mm,
quantum is going to give us that feedback, and then being capable to actually, me, Yssah, from here, expand through the Plunk plasma, my thoughts, all the way to you, to Rion, and then even, but doing it from a true state of awareness, which involves psionics, like, even if you apply that to physical things, like
mm,
if I recognize that from my hand to this device, there is no space, and my hand is expanding through the plasma field by aligning my frequency to the frequency that is within, or the other way around, expanding so much my magnetic field that then all the molecules in between, I am I am generating a field that is in resonance with those frequencies, and then there is no difference in between this device and my hand. It's an extension of me. So I have done that. I have achieved that with heavy things. I suggest that if you want to do that, any type of, even, like, um, like traveling from one space to another by teleporting, um, it needs to be something that really powers up your heart, not wanting to go to visit your mother-in-law. No, like really wanting to go and visit, for instance, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, like something that really moves your heart, or go to your star system. But of course, start progressively, like
right.
go step by step. And also alpha waves. Alpha waves are super important to recognize what do you want to tune into your field.
Mm,
You go gamma waves, then you want to go plasma. You
yes.
go you go alpha, then you want to teleport. You
Mm,
go theta, you want to remember. Like there are different keys actually through our brain, because then again, everything is frequency, energy, and vibration.
yes. Couldn't agree more. Now let's talk about supernatural things you can do within the frequency bandwidth. All right, so gamma, I love gamma. It's like the
Me
Hulk. You know what I
too.
mean? Like, how'd you get there? Like, I'm a Hulk smash. Okay, so gamma gives you abilities which you can practice with stone. Okay, so I'll tell you what we used to do on Team Light back in the day when I was working on the teams. But here's a trick you guys can do for all my old Atlantean brothers and sisters and Lemurians out there. When should I telling you guys? So, okay, this is something you can do. Okay, I'm not saying you have to do this, but let's just say there was a building that was made of a certain substance. Let's just say concrete. Okay. Well, did you know that you could take your right hand and place it on the out exterior wall of that building? You could close your eyes and put your forehead next to it on the exterior. And as long as that building is made in the exact same substance as or frequency as the wall you were touching, you could actually get with your third eye now, mind you, and your own feeling sensations, you can scan every molecule of concrete of that building, every single room, and the underfloor basements, the elevator that goes down. You could actually move through the subspace of the frequency of the particle or stone you are touching. Okay, that's how I access some of these little jackasses when they're hiding and they think they're safe in underground dumb space. You're not. If they use the same concrete to build on the top as they did on the bottom, gotcha. Number two, gamma. Gamma allows you to move through rock itself. And I think I have a lot of practice out here in Sedona because I'm constantly working with stones. I morning meditate all morning on red rock, like barefoot, right? So, especially when we get a bunch of lightning strikes out here in Sedona, which we have been recently, it really electrifies the piezoelectric, quartz bed under Sedona. So, there's something about moving through stone that I think a lot of you guys might want to practice and try. Sometimes when you think when you're moving, you're expanding your energy out, and you're like almost like becoming the wind. That's what you do when you want to control clouds. You particleize or you stretch yourself really thin and you become the cloud, and then you can start controlling the wind. You can pause the cloud. I like to go up on the mountain. I try to make my face in the cloud. I try to make my hand come out of the cloud. I'll actually use a picture. Maybe I'll put it on this video where you actually try to, I try to like look at the cloud and then I try to like do the number one coming out of the cloud. There's all kinds of you guys can practice.
Yeah. I think you froze, Rion, or was it me? Yeah. Did you freeze, or was
I
it
don't
me?
know if I did. Listen, see, as soon as I start doing real stuff, it's like he's gonna teach them all how to be Super Saiyans. Listen, if you love Goku and Vegeta, come with me now. Okay, listen. So, yeah, he froze. Okay, yes, I do that. Okay, listen. So,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start freezing. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you about Nassim Harriman and what his dissertation on empty space, right, really did for me. He says 1% matter, 99% empty space, right? Because I always thought to myself, well, when I expand my energy through an area, how am I not just like totally bumping into everybody, right? And then I always think to myself, 1% matter, 99% empty space. There's plenty of space for me to expand and go through the field, right? So I always think about that. And then I always thought to myself, well, where did the ancient builder race go? Before I totally just shut the whole internet down, because I do ask these questions in my pyramid in the backyard. You know, like where did the Anunnaki's parents go? Okay, and everyone else's parents go, for God's sakes, in this galaxy. And what they said is our parents, the ancient builder race, didn't leave us, son. They exist in the spaces in between dimensions. So
Exactly.
our founding, true from source to the founders to the ancients, the ones that are older than all these species in this galaxy, including around the same age as the Arcturians, even though they say they're the oldest. Same with the Orions. No, I'm talking about the ancient builder race that literally used to form nebulas into planets. Those beings.
Yes.
So for some
Yeah.
reason, I feel like I have more in kinship with those dudes than I do with like all their lower selves. I'm like, Papa, where are you, Papa? And they're like,
I
son, we're not allowed
know.
to come down there. You know what I mean? Like, that's not you woke up in a carnival ride, Petri dish, you know, like you can't, we can't come down there, boy. And I'm like, no, but Papa, these beings are weird. So anyways, they're weird. I don't know what to tell you. I'm like angelic. This is weird. Papa. So what I'm trying to say is if you imagine all the dimensions, imagine the spaces in between those dimensions or those bandwidths, like that barrier width. They can still interoperate in between the spaces or the bandwidth in between dimensions. And the reason why they still have their freeways or highways is because they can be here that fast. They're in between the spaces in between. So imagine all the bandwidths 3D, 4D, 5D, 6D. They still have access in the spaces in between those bandwidths. And that's how the ancient builder race and the ancients monitor every single thing that goes by in this video game.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the key. And thank you for bringing that up. I love it because this is how I read into reality. And this is very much related based on my memories to the halls of Amenti. You know, when they talk about this place that, yeah, there is a physical place, but there is also like the halls of Amenti and the like related to the Giza plateau, because due to the anomaly of that place, the electric current that Giza plateau has, it is a very easy way to create a huge massive portal that is interconnecting the 9 dimensions and interconnecting the 9 dimensions through the space and even higher. However, they like to put it into 9. Why? Because the configuration of this reality and the way to access from the simulation reality is based on the mastery of the 9. You know, 9 representing the wholeness, the 6 representing that space, that dimension where an extension of the 1 comes into an isolated state, like separating itself from the oneness, from the source of all, and experiencing itself as a creator. And then the third density, which is the information packed up. And actually, if you know how to travel within those 3, it's a way to shape the matrices that actually are quite wired into this reality, and bridging them into the primordial field, restoring it into the primordial field. Now, transferring your consciousness to everything that, of course, you're in resonance with. For instance, the cloud that Rion was mentioning, to the pyramid. It's like accessing archives. Okay, the ninth density level of like the ninth density or the ninth level of consciousness of the pyramids in Giza. Okay, because there are archives to that, like simultaneously we see it in a layer, but it's happening in at all layers. So accessing to that archive, then transferring my consciousness to the pyramid. So then your consciousness is within the pyramid, and then you're perceiving, you're feeling, you're sensing like the consciousness of the pyramid. And a lot of ancient civilizations knew of that. That's why they would give names to the temples. They would empower them, because as the spaceships that are also sentient technology, also the pyramids, they are a network. They are at different levels, of course. But like there is this huge network that we are capable to connect with as soon as we transfer our consciousness to whatever we want to, and then access to those records, and then activate that within our DNA. And this is very much connected to the plasma tunnels and to the next topic, because when we're talking about the plasma tunnels, in comparison to what we would know as the wormholes, for instance, the wormholes are it's the fundamentals for every network. Like even if I am touching, the space, that is created, it's fine strings of energy that at some point are so entangled to one another, less entangled in this reality, because that's why it's a lower frequency, like a more like a dense frequency, ralentized, let's say ralentized frequency. But the higher the frequency, the more that these wormholes are intertwined. And actually this is how retrocausal teleportation protocol is achieved,
Right.
which is back in time, which is the more entangled the wormhole, it's called a transversal wormhole, the faster and more effective that you are doing that. And even in our cells, in our molecular structure of the water, which is also very related to your vision, Rion, because all these liquids, when you achieve the fluid crystalline, which is mainly connected to the water, then you're creating superconductors that are bridging the quantum into this field, because they are quantum tunneling. So
Right.
now a lot of science will also come through in relation to the aqua photomics, which is the evolution, as well as how I see it from our DNA. Going into that luminous DNA, and our flesh going brighter and brighter, because our molecular structure of water is it's restoring itself into that crystalline fluid.
Yes, Jan, I love you, Jan. That's Lone Star Angelics right there, Jan. I love you. You guys got to come out. Okay, I want to do something fun for everyone that's just waking up. How many people in our chat right now? You can put a 2 if you're only rocking a 2-strain DNA. You can put a 3 if you're rocking 3-strain DNA, all the way up. Don't get crazy and write you're 128-bit. I got 128 strands activated. I'm going to go here and I'm going to say 3 faux show, like all day. You know what I mean? Ancestry.com, you're not getting my DNA. You know what I mean? I'm not not going to do it. I'm going to tell you right now that it's way more, it's 3 and above. Okay. I don't know. I got quantum entanglement going on behind my eyeballs. What does it feel like when you're charging in the morning and you feel your eyes are glowing? What is that? Is that 3 and above, Father? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I'm feeling like we're all going multidimensional. I'm just so happy honestly, there's all this weird distraction going on Earth. I'm so proud of you guys. You guys are growing exponentially. The upgrades that have been going on this past 2 weeks. I want to talk about this for a second.
Okay, Rion froze again. Okay. Uh, anyway, well, yeah, there have been two, like the last two couple of weeks have been like very intense at many levels. I think that the more that we are coming closer to very specific years, we are being called to reach a very specific level of consciousness already. And the solar flares, all these plasma.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I know the keyword. I know the keyword. The keyword for you to come back is plasma. I just said plasma, and you jump in.
Plasma. Come on, guys. You know, you talk about your technology so advanced, you can't even keep a basic. What is this thing? 1080p. What? Can we get some Arcturians down here that know how to push a button? This is nuts. Okay, get House of Slytherin out of Google. I can't do it anymore. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I love you. I'm going to teach you all the secrets of the universe. I don't know, Yssah, I love you. Let's talk about what we got going on. Okay.
Okay.
We have the Full Disclosure Now conference in July. Come out and see me and Yssah.
Yeah, come and see us. Plasma. Plasma 3 times.
Plasma.
Yeah. I was saying it as well. Awesome. Yeah, I have been tuning into that. Yeah. We have been moving a lot of energy. A lot of things are going. Yanni, a lot of things are coming through. But yeah, we will be presenting in the Full Disclosure Now conference, and we will also be in Texas. You know. Yeah. Now he's okay. So
listen, I love you. Listen. I love you. I'm not doing.
And you came back.
Okay. Come out to check out teamlight.com, teamlightstore.com. Get your tickets for the Dallas conference, October 17th through the 19th. We are selling tickets like hot fire. We love you. There's limited seats available. Come on out. Use that coupon code in the description to get your hotel room at a discounted rate. We love you. Okay. I will be doing morning coffee tomorrow. Okay. So we can do our normal weekly reading and all that jazz tomorrow. And Yssah, how can they find you?
Well, they can find me in www. Well, it's in my. Well, it
here,
was.
hold on a second. Let me see if I can remove the plasma. Okay, and
yeah, because plasma. Yeah, everyone was invoking you.
I've tried. I'm like a genie in a bottle. You got a plasma before, you know what I mean? You just keep saying plasma. I'm like, hey, I'm back.
Worked. Yeah. It worked.
I love you. Okay, find Yssah at Huna-Akan. You say it.
Yeah, akna.com. And in my media YouTube channel,
she goes
Facebook.
by Hakuna Matata.
Yeah, that's where it comes from.
Does it really?
I was trying to make it cooler, you know?
Oh my god, dude! I didn't even know that. Hakuna Matata. Okay.
I didn't want to be sued by Disney, so then I had to change a little bit.
Listen. You know what? You say that, Erica, until I'm standing next to you at 6'1", 6'2", 230, and you're like, he's a lot smaller on webcam. No, I'm just kidding. Listen. Okay, listen, the link is in the description, you guys. It's go to Facebook, go to Instagram, YouTube, Rumble. It's in the description. Click.
Yeah, click in the link below. And so both conferences are going to be fantastic, spectacular. You see how much energy we're moving, and we will be moving even more in person. A lot of activations, plasma activations, and sharing like a lot of information, each one on their own specialty. Plasma.
Okay, listen,
Yeah, you
I'm
can keep
signing
going.
off. Yssah, I love you. I'm
It's
signing
so
off. I
cool.
love you very much. Check us out. I love you. All right. See you guys next time. Peace.
Yeah.